Welcome back to Sip and Talk.
We're so glad you're joining us again.
Today, we're going to jump into something that feels like it's always shifting, always moving, endless negotiations, and market fear.
Yeah, it really does feel that way sometimes.
We've got quite a bit to unpack for you. The latest on tariff strategies, what that could mean for, your wallet.
Right.
Plus the ongoing situation in Ukraine, a look at the AI race in tech, which is fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Big stuff happening there.
It really feels like watching a global chess match, doesn't it? With real consequences.
Absolutely. And our goal today really is to just pull out the key things you need to know. Go through some of the noise, help you understand what's driving things. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with those tariffs. They're back, but it feels, a bit different this time. Remember all the worry about prices shooting up? What's actually going on now?
Well, a really crucial point now is this clarification that tariffs won't be stacked.
Stacked? What does that mean exactly?
It means if a country is facing tariffs on multiple things, let's say steel and something else, they only pay the single highest rate.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so like a 25% steel tariff doesn't get added on to, say, a 10% other tariff to make 35%. It's just the 25%.
Okay, gotcha.
And this no stacking thing, it actually clears up a lot of uncertainty in the market. It's seen as potentially good news for places like Japan, South Korea, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Thailand, especially for cars and steel.
Right. That's a big clarification. Sounds like it fits that maximum pressure idea, using tariffs more like a bargaining chip than a final punishment.
Definitely.
Kind of like saying, clean your room by Friday or no TV, but then Friday comes and maybe you get an extension.
Exactly. That flexibility seems built in. We saw it just now, right? A July 9th deadline got pushed to August 1st.
Okay.
It shows that firm, but maybe not 100% firm approach.
Sure.
And there's talk of potential new tariffs, too. Copper, maybe 50%, some drugs, possibly up to 200%. And yeah, the expectation is more of these tariff letters are probably going out to other countries, too.
It makes you think about the real-world impact, though. I saw some comments from a congresswoman, a Democrat in Michigan. She was talking about when 55 tariffs got announced in like 100 days. She said it just caused chaos. Uncertainty, hiring freezes, costs going up, unemployment rising, projects just stopped.
Yeah, that unpredictability is tough.
So she's asking, is this pressure thing really working for growth? Or are things like the CHIPS Act, supporting domestic industry a better way?
That's the million-dollar question for businesses, right?
Yeah.
And adding to the confusion, there are also these claims, these accusations of gaslighting.
Gaslighting? How so?
Well, critics were saying the administration kind of implied August 1st was always the deadline, even though earlier reports suggested it was changed. And all this back and forth, this shifting, it's led to more calls for Congress to have, more say in tariff policy. Questioning if one branch should have all that power, it just creates this constant uncertainty.
Yeah, no kidding.
And that uncertainty, well, that leads us right into how the market's reacting.
Right.
Initially, you remember, there was a lot of concern about these endless negotiations. Now, maybe the market's a bit calmer, almost like it's getting used to it.
Adapting, maybe?
Yeah, adapting. But the analysis still points to maybe a 2% dip in S&P 500 earnings growth for Q2.
Okay, so 2% dip in S&P earnings. What does that actually mean for you listening at home? It means all this unpredictability makes planning long-term investments really hard.
Right.
It just fuels volatility. Stocks, currencies, commodity prices bouncing around. Imagine trying to plan a big purchase if the price tag changed every single day.
Exactly. And that can also mean higher costs for businesses. Maybe they stockpile stuff just in case, or they have to scramble to change suppliers. And those costs, eventually they could trickle down to you, the consumer, potentially pushing up the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, by maybe 0.5%, maybe even a full percent.
Wow.
And globally, the IMF, they've predicted a bit of a slowdown in global GDP growth, maybe 0.3 to 0.5%, if this tariff stuff drags on.
But okay, it's not all doom and gloom, is it? The U.S. economy is still showing some strength.
Oh, absolutely. Resilience is the word.
Yeah.
And the government seems hopeful, expecting deals with India, Taiwan, the EU pretty soon.
So the market is adapting, maybe finding new opportunities, like boosting manufacturing here at home?
That's part of the dynamic. Take the auto industry, for example. Yeah, tariffs might delay some new models or bump up costs, maybe 5–10%.
Ouch.
But it could also push car makers to build more locally. So swings and roundabouts.
Speaking of big moves and shakers, let's switch gears a bit to the tech world. There's this huge battle brewing over AI, artificial intelligence, and it looks like Apple's having a rough time while Meta is just surging ahead.
It's a really fascinating contrast right now.
Yeah, reports suggest Apple's AI plans have hit some significant hurdles. Their top AI guy, Tim Miller, apparently he just left for Meta. That's a big loss.
Definitely.
And their main AI division, the one building the core models, is supposedly dealing with low morale, people leaving. What's really interesting is how much Apple seems to be relying on partners like Anthropic and OpenAI for key AI stuff, like making images. It suggests maybe their own internal capabilities aren't quite there yet.
Even with all their cash.
Right, they have mountains of cash. But it seems like a lot of that goes to stock buybacks, not necessarily massive AI investment. And that might mean they aren't paying top dollar to get or keep the best AI people.
So while Apple's maybe being cautious, Meta is just going for it?
Totally different playbook. Meta is reportedly throwing multi-million-dollar offers at top AI researchers. Zuckerberg himself is apparently involved in recruiting, like inviting people to his house.
Wow, personal touch. Yeah. And their goal is huge. Artificial superintelligence, not just for better ads, but to become this kind of all-knowing productivity engine.
That's a fundamental difference, isn't it? Apple's usually about their own closed system, their own chips, their own software.
Exactly. That model worked brilliantly for hardware and OS, but AI is much more open, faster moving. Meta seems to be betting big, spending tons on talent, on data centers, really trying to, quote, win superintelligence.
A real innovator's dilemma playing out right there. Okay, let's shift again, this time to something extremely serious, the situation in Ukraine. There's been a pretty big policy change from the U.S.
Yes, a significant reversal. President Trump announced the U.S. is resuming military aid to Ukraine, specifically defensive weapons.
And this comes after a pause, right?
That's right. Critical supplies were held up for a period. Reports suggest this change came after recent calls Trump had with President Zelensky of Ukraine, described as most productive, and also President Putin of Russia.
Oh, interesting. What about the Putin call?
Apparently, Trump expressed great dissatisfaction and noted Putin seemed determined to continue fighting.
And the need for this aid in Ukraine is just immense right now.
It really is. Russia has dramatically stepped up attacks. In just 1 week, over 12,270 drones, nearly 40 missiles, something like 1,000 glide bombs. It's causing terrible civilian casualties.
Horrifying.
And on top of that, Russia's reportedly massing around 160,000 troops near the front lines.
It's just, yeah, a high-stakes chess game with real lives. Ukraine desperately needs more resources just to defend themselves.
Absolutely. The aid packages include things like thousands of artillery rounds, Hellfire missiles, GMLRS missiles, and crucially, 30 Patriot missiles.
Patriots are key for drone defense.
Vital. Absolutely vital against those drone swarms. So while this aid is critical, really critical for Ukraine right now, the overall future is still incredibly challenging. It really depends on ongoing international support and, diplomatic efforts somehow finding a way.
Such a tough situation. So if you found today's conversation helpful, if you want more insights into complex stuff made hopefully a bit clearer,
We try.
make sure you hit that subscribe button for Sip and Talk wherever you get your podcasts.
And hey, before we sign off, we got to give a shout out to our good friend Mickey.
Oh, yeah.
Check out her YouTube channel. It's called Mickytolife. Great stuff. Memes, music, wine tasting. Just put up a brand new vlog about travel and food in Korea.
Nice. Sounds awesome. Definitely go check that out.
Yeah, you won't regret it.
All right, that wraps it up for this Sip and Talk. Thanks so much for tuning in.
See you next time.